Fighting games have come a long way since the early days of arcade cabinets, and along the way many titles of franchises have either blossomed or fallen. But one aspect of fighting games that have and will always stand the test of time is the infamous mirror match. Ah yes, the thing that you either absolutely love or hate queuing up against. But something we can all agree on is that you can't escape it. I mean, there are only so many characters you can choose from, and even if the roster is diverse, there usually are a select few that get picked due to popularity or competitive viability. So chances are this has happened to you before. But the idea of two identical characters facing off has been seen many times throughout various forms of media, especially in comics. Most of the time, their alternate selves are a manifestation of them, either physical or mental. Now in fighting games, you aren't necessarily playing against yourself, but it can definitely feel that way sometimes.
It's not over. It's not over.
These matches can be incredibly complex and require a deep understanding of the character's strengths and weaknesses, but also not at the same time. I'll explain. Today, we're going to dive into the art of the mirror match and just how complicated it can become. If you want to see more videos like this, then make sure to subscribe. It helps the channel out and you can always change your mind. Today's video is once again sponsored by Yahaha Studios. Yahaha is a new 3D creation platform that solely focuses on user-generated content. You can create your own immersive multiplayer experiences without any prior knowledge in coding or server experience. The studio has over 1 million different features and assets to suit your needs. Once you're finished with your creation, you can share it with your friends or other people online. You can even show videos to other people in your virtual experience too. And if you're not sure where to start, they host live streams on Twitch to help creators enhance their building skills. And don't worry if you missed the stream, because previous streams will be on YouTube. So if you're looking to make a game without the hassle of learning code, make sure to click my link in the description to try out Yahaha Studio today. Again, thank you to them for sponsoring, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this video. First, let's talk about why people hate them. Well, for starters, it can be repetitive. If I main a certain character that I've spent hundreds of hours with, or even thousands, and I feel like I've pretty much mastered the character, playing against them will not bring anything new or different to the table. It essentially feels like a knowledge check, making sure you know what's plus and what's negative. It's the same old moves and the same old combos being used that you've probably seen too many times to count. And speaking of combos, whatever game plan or flowchart you had prepared, you might as well throw it away. It becomes useless in these matchups. And if you don't know what a flowchart is, it basically describes how someone plays their character regardless of what the opponent does. And because of how characters are designed and the fact that most people try to play them somewhat optimal, or whatever is convenient, people end up playing those characters the same way. It's why exaggerated character stereotypes like Leo mains not using their brains exist. His moves allow people to do that. But when it comes to a mirror match, if I recognize what you're doing is effective, I'll just do it right back to you. I have the same move, so I can just steal your tech. And if we're just going to copy each other the whole time, that makes the overall match boring, even from a viewer's perspective. One of the things I hate, and I'm sure I'm not alone in this, is when the top 8 of a tournament, or the whole tournament in general, consist of mostly the same characters. Nothing makes me more bored than that. And I'm not knocking the players for choosing those characters. I mean, I understand money's on the line, and I would do the same thing. But not only does it show that the game is imbalanced, but seeing the same characters over and over again as a viewer makes it less interesting to watch, which affects the overall viewership. So it's actually in the game's best interest to make the character roster more diverse and balanced. Then when mirror matches do happen, they're kind of hyped because it's rare. But with that being said, mirror matches aren't completely bad. For example, if you're learning a new character, you can take what I said earlier and use it to figure out tech a lot faster than just playing against whoever you want. You'd be surprised with how much you can learn from playing against someone who's better than you. There might be situations where you never thought to use a certain move or try a different combo route. Seeing and experiencing it gives you real-time feedback and an insight on what your character has the potential to do. And I think that's really useful. Another reason why people like mirror matches is because they consider them a true 50-50 matchup. In fighting games, there's always going to be matchups that favor specific characters. They are designed in a way to be good in some areas and bad in others. And if we have the same stats, then who's to say it's not a 50-50 matchup? There's not much you can blame the loss on. I can't blame it on any broken moves because I have them too. I can't say your character is cheap because that would be ironic. The only thing I can really blame is lag. Or I guess I can call you bad, but what does that really do? It all comes down to how the players react, and that's the most interesting part. You constantly have to think outside the box and take risks you normally wouldn't take. As weird as it sounds, it reminds me of how dive kick plays. Because the game is so simple and the characters can literally only dive kick, the real game happens in the mind. You're trying to trick and outsmart your opponent in any way you can, and sometimes overthinking it can be problematic too. What makes the mirror match so interesting is the duality of it. On one hand, it can be a strategic, thought out process, and on the other is just absolutely chaos. especially when those characters output ungodly amounts of damage. Plus, there are some character-specific interactions that can only happen in mirror matchups. For example, in Brawl, Snake has an uneven matchup against himself. Now, how is it even remotely possible for identical characters to have uneven matchups? Well, it has to do with something called port priority. Because what order you port your controller in, it gives you varying degrees of advantages and disadvantages. I honestly can't explain how weird port priority is, so if you want to learn more about it, you should definitely watch this video. Long story short, using the 4th port in a Snake mirror against someone using a different port will give you an advantage over them. 4th port Snake will not take any knockback from his grenades during a grab animation, only damage, which essentially gives the move armor, whereas the other Snake will both take damage and knockback. This is usually referred to as faux armor, or FSA for short. Now, there are cases where characters can exploit their own weaknesses without external factors, but even then, both parties have the opportunity to do so. Mirror matches can also serve as an important tool to competitive play. If you know that a character hates mirror matches, you can use that against them in the character selection process. That is, if you know how to play their main. Best case scenario, they pick their main and you get the mirror match. Worst case scenario, they knew you were going to do that, but even if that happens, you force them onto a weaker character, which just makes it even for you. Mirror matching opponents can also be seen as a sign of disrespect. By picking your opponent's character, you're basically telling them that you can play their character better than them. It's like you're actively taunting the whole match. So even that could add to the mind games. Or maybe you're just a troll like Punk and play mirror matches the entire tournament.
You want to keep teching? You want to play Ed? Let's play Ed, my guy. You don't know where he going. Look, he just... Why are you trying to do what I do? You're the one who made Ed. Look, you getting... Why are you trying to copy what I'm doing? He said, maybe if I copy him, my Ed will improve. No.
Ultimately, the appeal of mirror matches varies for everyone. It comes down to individual preferences and playstyle. Personally, I think it can be fun with certain characters, but most of the time I try to avoid it if I can. For some reason, I just feel like I play worse in mirror matches, I don't know. But I can definitely see why people like them. Although there is one mirror match I never experienced and I hope I never experience. Ironically, I used it for this thumbnail. To all the Mei players out there, what does the Mei mirror match feel like? More importantly, what does it sound like? I have no clue how you deal with hearing that all day. In a weird way, I respect Mei players for dealing with that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about mirror matches. Do you like them? Do you hate them? Maybe it doesn't matter to you. Either way, I want to hear what you think. As always, make sure to like and subscribe, join the Discord to hang out with us, follow my Twitter for updates, check out my Patreon for exclusive content, and I occasionally stream on Twitch. I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.